Live?
My name is Eugene Salluzzo. I live in 1 Bussy Lane, Hoosick Falls, New York.
How long have you lived in Hoosick Falls, Gene?
I'm a lifelong resident of Hoosick Falls.
I see. And you don't mind telling us how old you are, so we at least get it in
I'll be
perspective.
74, December 7th, 1999.
Oh, you're born on Pearl Harbor Day. Right. Well, will you please tell us a little about Hoosick Falls before you entered the service of your country?
Well, I was small. I grew up like every other small kid and before the service. And then when the war come on, of course, everybody's anxious to get in the war. And I was only 17 years old when I joined the Navy. And when I joined, they had such a thing as what they called a baby cruise. You went in when you were 17 years old, and you got out the day before you're 21. But that didn't so happen in my case. So.
I see. All right, now, you were in St. Mary's or Hoosick Falls Central?
I went to St. Mary's Academy all my life.
And did you graduate, or did they go to the service?
I went to third year high, went into service.
I see. A lot of people did since we've been interviewing.
Right.
All right, so you went into the service. Tell us a little about what went on. You know, you joined, and did you enlist?
When I first joined, I went to Sampson, New York for basic training, and then I ended up in Fort Pierce, Florida with the amphibious forces, and eventually went cross-country by train, and went to the Pacific Ocean, in the Pacific Fleet out there, and different ships I was on, different kind of ships I was on, 2 or 3 different ones. I ended up on the USS New York, which is a battleship, and it was a great ship because we had the invasion of Okinawa April 1st, 1945 on Easter Sunday, and the USS New York shot 6 14-inch guns for 78 hours straight. No ship in the Navy ever did it. The guns were made in Watervliet, New York, the arsenal. And one thing led to another.
I see. So you were in the Battle of Okinawa, is that what you said?
Yes.
I see. When you went into the service, what was your position on the battlefield, on the battleship?
I was a coxswain. I was on top deck on the ship. Took care of the maintenance of the ship and so forth.
I see.
Third class petty officer.
I see. All right, and then, so in other words, when you got into the service, you got it right on the ship and you went right out to the Pacific?
That's right, just about, after training, amphibious training and stuff like that.
I see, and then you went right out and you were in the Battle of Okinawa there?
I was in the Philippines. I was in the Battle of Leyte Gulf too, at one time.
I see.
Yeah.
And so give us some more. I know you don't like to talk about it. It's kind of bringing back memories, but...
Well, in Okinawa, that was the last stands for the Japs. They had a lot of kamikaze pilots that was always said that they were drunk. They were average age from 15 to 18 years old, and they would hit different ships and stuff. And I happened to actually see the silhouette of a kamikaze plane hit a aircraft carrier, but he hit it just with his wings, so it didn't do no damage. And I also, at the time I was out there, the American Army had a paper, and I happened to read it one day, and it said how Whitey Bettner landed the first P-51 Mustang on this island that Ernie Pyle got killed on. I just happened to read it.
Oh, yeah?
And that's been a known fact. He was the first pilot that ever landed down there.
And he was from Hoosick Falls.
He was a native of Hoosick Falls. He just died recently.
Right.
And, well, they had like 60,000 Japanese soldiers on there, and the Americans, what they did is they landed one place to draw them all there, and then in the meantime they landed another spot just to fool them. And it was quite a battle. It lasted quite a while.
Were you there most of the time? Did
all
the ship
time
there
that the invasion was there. All the time. Yeah.
All right. Then after you left Okinawa, your boat went. You know, where'd the ship take you?
Well, we went back through I went through the Panama Canal 3 times. It's really quite a sight.
Yeah.
I went through the canal with the New York twice, and then we come back, and then we had to go back. We went to Bikini with the New York. Bikini Atoll, it belongs to the Marshall Islands, and the reason I went there because it was shadow. We had lots of ships there, tons of ships there to drop the A-bomb. Well, we dropped the first A-bomb from the air. They wanted to see what it would do. And
where were you when the A-bomb was dropped?
We were about 3 miles out, and they told us to watch they'd give us countdown. They were counting down. They said, now watch. And we had dark glasses on, special for the radiation and stuff. And it was quite a sight. I mean, when they dropped the one from the air, it did quite a bit of damage. It brought sand up from the bottom of the ocean. But don't forget now, the atoll was a shadow, because the reason they went there, because when they sunk ships, they wanted to take and investigate and see what they did. And it was not unusual to see sand in the guns and stuff. After we dropped the bomb, we used to go on the ship. We used to have to wear cloth shoes, coveralls. We used to have an x-ray pack in our pocket with our name because of the radiation. And then after we got off the ship, they would take a Geiger counter on our hands, and our hands would show where there was a lot of radiation. So we'd have to go back and shower. You can take so much radiation, but that's all. So then we'd go back in and take a shower, change all our clothes, and they'd check us again with the Geiger counter, and we'd be all right. And they had like rifles and pistols, thousands of them on top of the ship just to see what they do. They were all radioactive.
And these were tests that you were doing on...
These were actual
At what
tests.
island was it, the test?
Bikini Atoll. It was an atoll because, like I say, it was shadow. Then the second one, it detonated from under the water, and it lifted 1 million tons of water in the air. And they had remote control airplanes with goats and pigs in them. You could actually see the goat in there setting, and they were landing and taking off of the aircraft carrier. It was amazing. And they were flying through the mushroom just to see what the radioactivity would do.
And then they tested the animals.
And they tested the animals.
And how long was this before they actually dropped the bomb, that they did these tests?
Oh, it was very shortly. I mean, just as soon as they...
As soon as they saw they worked, then they did it on Japan.
And you would believe that the planes were taking off in the aircraft carrier and going back on and coming off. And they had pigs and goats. Goats you could see good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
All right, so then they bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki and so forth.
They bombed them with...
Yeah, and you were where when that happened?
I was in Okinawa.
You were
I was in Okinawa. We ended up in Japan. I went to Japan.
Well, first you were in Okinawa. Did you see any of any guys from town from
No,
Okinawa?
but I knew there was guys. Tony Muskie was there. He was in the invasion of Okinawa.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of Sulluzzo, he was with the 105th out of Hoosick Falls. He got killed in Okinawa because they had a mock invasion to draw all the Japs, and that's when he got killed.
I see.
Yeah.
Because the 105th was in that invasion.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so then you did Okinawa, then they bombed Japan.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
And you said you were in the Philippines. Was that before Okinawa?
That was before Okinawa. Leyte Gulf. I was invasion of Leyte Gulf.
I see.
The Philippines is the biggest group of islands in the world. There's 70,000 islands in the Philippines.
I see. And so you were involved in the USS New York. Were you on the USS New York all the time you were in the service?
Yes. No, not all the time. I was on different ships.
I see.
I was an AP carrier, a troop carrier, and like that.
I see. All right, so then they dropped the bomb on Japan, and then what happened with you?
Well, after we left Okinawa, we went to Japan. I'm sure the captain of the ship wanted to go to Japan. And we go to Tokyo Bay. In Tokyo Bay, Tokyo City does not have a port. You go to Tokyo Bay, which is in Hiroshima. And you go there, and when I went there, after the A-bomb test, all of us standing up there was chimneys and safes. That's the only thing. The place was leveled right off. There was nothing there.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I see. Did you actually get shore leave on to Japan? Or
Oh yeah, we went on. Like I say, I think the captain of our ship wanted to go there. He made it a point to go there.
I see. He wanted to see for himself what was there. All right. Then after you, after the war ended in Japan, you were on this ship, the USS New Yorker. What happened then?
Well, we come back to the States.
Came back to the States.
And then, in the meantime, see, I had to stay in the Navy longer than normal because I had that, what they call that baby cruiser enlistment. So the war was over in '45, and I didn't get discharged until December 19th, 1946.
Oh, I see, because you had to put in your time because of that.
That's right, because I signed up for that baby cruise.
All right, what did you do after the war?
Well, after the war, I got discharged.
I'm talking about the ship, in the Navy.
Oh, we couldn't sink the ship in Bikini. So they wanted to sink the New York. In fact, I was one of the last guys off the New York because I had to take charge of all the watertight compartments. I was actually almost the last guy off. So we couldn't sink it in Bikini, so they took it in the middle of the Pacific and they torpedoed it just to get rid of it.
Because why would they want to get rid of the boat?
They had no use for it. It was obsolete.
Oh, I see.
Even today, battleships are obsolete.
Yeah, I see. So they just sunk it in the middle of
They
the Pacific.
just dumped it in the, of course they know where it is.
Yeah,
They mark it by latitude and longitude.
Yeah, right. So then what happened? You came home and what?
Well, I went to Seattle. I got processed in Seattle in the Navy, and I got discharged there December 19, 1946, and I hitchhiked across the United States.
Yeah, what you do? Coming home, you might as well see United States?
That's right, and I have nothing doing. I had friends that I met different places, and I didn't care if I went one way or the other. I would hitchhike to Texas, even no matter what. I'd take a ride with anybody, and I was in Navy uniform, and right after the war, they gave you any kind of ride. Any city I went to, the bus drivers always gave you a free ride. And then I'd go one way or the other, north side. I ended up in Buffalo, New York to see a friend of mine. I saw him, and I haven't seen him since, and that's over 50 years ago.
I see.
But it was really quite a thing. It was quite an experience.
All right, then you finally came back to Hoosick Falls.
Come back to good old Hoosick Falls.
I see. And what you do then?
Well, I ended up tending bar for my parents. I owned a grill for 50 years, and I was very fortunate that I ended up going to the post office, and the United States government take care of us very well, especially being a Navy man. And then I had 35 years with the post office, and I had 4 years with the Navy, was included that. I got credit for it, and since then the federal government's taken care of me very well.
I see. All right, is there anything you'd like to tell us about Hoosick Falls that you remember? You know, as a kid or?
I can remember a lot of things, but I can't picture anything right now.
All right.
But I'll tell you one thing that was funny what happened to me. I was on the APA 100, it was a troop transport, and we were transferring these jungle fighters from the Panama Canal to the Philippines. That's why I got in the Battle of Leyte Gulf. And there was a guy from Greenwich, New York. He was in the 5th bunk on the bottom of the keel. He was sick for 30 days, seasick. He never got out of his bunk. I fed him candy bars all the time he was on the ship. I fed him candy bars, never got it. His name was Harry Brophy. And I was up in Wally's in Greenwich here a couple of months ago, and I said to the lady owner, I did go see Harry Brophy up in Greenwich once, but I never did, and I should have went and seen him more. I said to the lady, I says, would Harry Brophy be around here yet? And she says, well, there's his brother right over there. I went over and seen him, and I talked to him. He says, my brother died. I told him the experience I had, that I fed him candy bars for 30 days on the ship. He says, you killed him because he died with sugar.
Well, any other interesting stories about the Navy? Or...
Well, it's very surprising. No matter where you go in the world, you end up seeing somebody from Hoosick Falls. I have run into a lot of different people in the course of time.
After the war? Or
no, during the war.
During the war.
Yeah.
Well, like who? I mean,
down in Florida. I was down in Florida, and I met Bill Livingston. He was a native of here. I've met different people. It's hard to pinpoint them.
Yeah,
now.
I know. It's hard to remember.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get as many names of Hoosick Falls people in that we
I
can.
was trying to think of, but it's surprising. No matter where you go, there's always somebody from Hoosick Falls.
Yeah. So now you're retired, and
I'm retired.
And you're active up to the hospital, I know.
Yeah, I'm
the Bennington Hospital.
That's right. I'm a volunteer up at the Southern Western Vermont Medical Center, and I take care of all the wheelchairs up there. There's 79, and enjoy it very much. I have a daughter that's an RN. She's the one that got me involved. And
I know. I read in the papers that you just got an award from the hospital.
I got a Quest Award up there. It was very rare. There was only 3 volunteers out of 1,200 employees.
Yeah,
it was excellent. At the Equinox. I had a great time.
Yeah, I saw that in the paper the other day. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else, Gene?
Not offhand. I mean.
Okay. Well, we thank you very much for coming. It was an interesting story. You've been around, and we're glad you're back in Hoosick Falls working for us.
Thank you. This is a card that I got that represents that I was in an A-bomb test. I was in an A-bomb test in the Bikini Atoll. The 1st of July, 1925 was the first one, or 1946 was the first one. The 25th of July, 1946 was the second one. I wrote to the federal government asking them to put it into my discharge, and they wouldn't put it in my discharge because they had so many lawsuits against it. This is the only thing that I have that represents that I am an atomic bomb veteran. I also belong to the National Association of Atomic Veterans too.
I see. Well, why don't you take your hat and let's get a good picture of your hat. Take off your hat for a minute and put it down where you had the other, and we'll get a picture of your hat so we get that. Hold it down a little lower. Down lower, and I got to zoom a little back, and we'll get a good picture of it. There, perfect picture. Okay, Gene, thanks a lot. Great picture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil.